Right, so mother-in-laws from hell. This is where people go to vent their frustrations at the callous, calculated and conniving mothers of their partners. And we're starting off with a TikTok story time from Calcifer.
Dude, emotional incest is so weird. And as someone who works in weddings, I feel like I see it more than the average person.
Jesus, jumping straight in at the deep end here. I mean, I did kind of assume that there would be this running theme in a lot of these where the mother-in-law is kind of jealous of their son's fiance or wife, because for some reason it is just a classic mother-in-law tale you see online all the time. And we are wasting no time in getting straight to them.
But this might take the cake. So I just got home not too long ago from a wedding that we hosted at my venue today. We were outside for the ceremony, it was beautiful, everyone looked great, everything was going according to plan. So they get to the end of their vows, and of course the officiant says, you may kiss your bride. So they give like a cute little peck, we get a picture, it's a great time. And then, just as the cheering is going down, the mother of the groom stands up and says, "Oh, come on, just lay a big one on her like you're imagining it's mama."
Oh, that's so bizarre. I thought there was going to be something to do with jealousy, but straight up saying out loud, "Imagine it's me you're snogging." I mean, saying lay a big one on her is kind of weird enough as it is, but saying imagine it's me, that is awful.
The silence was deafening.
Oh, that makes it so much worse.
The uncomfortableness was tangible. Just so fucking weird.
I mean, I could kind of understand some sort of expression of like, from the mum's point of view, like, oh, this is my son and I've up until now been like the most important woman in his life, and now this other woman who I don't really know that well perhaps is like taking my place as the most important woman in his life. But to make a joke about you wishing it was you being snogged in front of everyone is just bizarre. My mother-in-law wanted to wear a wedding dress and kept saying it was her wedding. I'm so curious how common this type of thing is, and I'm guessing we're unfortunately gonna have to suffer through more of it. Alright, next. Mother-in-law demanded DNA. What does that mean? My husband had a child from a previous relationship. Blue-eyed, blonde, beautiful little girl. When my husband and I were pregnant with our first child, my mother-in-law became a truly horrible person. Or should I say, she showed her true colours. Once our daughter was earthside, she came to the hospital to see her. My daughter was dark-haired and had hazel eyes. In my mother-in-law's mind, she could not have been her son's. While she was holding our daughter, she demanded that my husband take a DNA test to prove that the child was his. Whilst holding the daughter in the hospital is mental. I was utterly shocked and brokenhearted, understandably. Not only was she denying my baby, she was insinuating that I had slept around. That is actually so tragic. The birth of your child is supposed to be one of the best days of your life, and having the mother-in-law ruin it by, firstly suggesting that the baby isn't even his, but suggesting that she had cheated as well. Fast forward to the next 6 months, she was continually asking for a DNA test, as if having a brand newborn baby isn't stressful enough. Having your mother-in-law constantly rinsing you for that. In the end, to shut her up, we took the test. I'm kind of annoyed that she caved, because I almost would want her to the mother-in-law for it to keep bugging her, but it probably just wasn't worth it for them, just constantly getting harassed. My husband was her father. Shock. We both had no doubt about it and were proven correct. She then said the DNA test was obviously wrong. Based on what? I hope they got the mother-in-law to pay as well. I swear those things aren't cheap. How much is a DNA test? 100 quid. And they were right. That is mental. That was it for us. No contact going on 21 years and couldn't be happier. Wow, in one of the recent videos I was like, oh, I really wish we got a follow-up to these because I'd be curious how it went. This is essentially a follow-up built in 21 years later. That is rough because I can see how you would not want to be in contact with a mother-in-law like this. She's obviously mental and just all-round a horrible person. But 21 years, that's... Oh, her dark-haired 21-year-old looks so much like her dad, it's uncanny. I wonder if she knows. And I wonder if the mother-in-law ever looks at photos and is like, shit, that is very obviously my granddaughter. And I've lost everything because I was a twat. It's a shame that she chose this, but we reap what we sow. Fair enough. That is crazy. She's obviously an idiot and doesn't understand how genes work. Glad you kicked her to the curb. Yeah, in general, brown-eyed genes are dominant compared with blue-eyed genes, but I wish we got a description just out of curiosity about what the father and mother and the previous mother looked like. Oh, has she tried to contact you guys? After our daughter's christening, which involved another mother-in-law meltdown, she's never tried to contact us again. I need more too, I'm riveted. Yeah, tell us the full story. Oh, she doesn't say what happened, but apparently just is straight up a nutter. Also, when our second child was born, another daughter, we always had a laugh saying that we wonder who her father and mother are, as she's a redhead. My mother-in-law would have had a heart attack over her. I hope they sent her photos being like, your second granddaughter Or is it? You'll never know. What the hell? My mother-in-law slows down when she passes my house and scans all the windows. My mother-in-law lives next door. Okay, that's at least a little bit creepy than her like making the drive every single day. And every time she leaves her place, she has to pass ours. As in like the route takes her that way, or that's her choice every single time. And she doesn't just pass, she slows her car and visibly scans every window in our house. Sometimes we make eye contact and it gets awkward. That is so odd. But kind of sweet. I mean, like, you've got a free neighborhood watch person looking out for you every single day. As long as it's not like a proper invasion of their privacy, that I guess could be a good thing. Although actually, I think I'm getting some carryover from the last story, assuming that there was like a newborn baby. In which case, I can imagine like a grandparent who maybe doesn't have much to do being like, I kind of want to just make sure that, you know, all the windows are locked and everything's safe. But they haven't mentioned a grandkid yet. So I guess she likes to keep track of where we are. She's made comments like, I've noticed you're not in the living room much lately. Where in the house do you go? Yeah, that's creepy. I'm not entirely sure why she's curious about that. Like, if this was going to be a safety thing, I'd be like, maybe a bit creepy, dial it down a little bit, but like kind of wholesome. This just seems straight up like stalking. It's super weird and invasive, and I literally don't know how to handle it. I feel like I'm a zoo animal. And yes, I know we need blinds, though she's commented in the past how much it would hurt her if we had blinds closed, because that would look unfriendly. I was also thinking maybe she could be making a point like, if I can slow down and look in, anyone can. But she's made it clear she doesn't want them to get them. I'm going nuts. I mean, I definitely invest in blinds, but I'd also maybe teach the mother-in-law a lesson. Maybe get her to see something that makes her feel like she never wants to look inside those windows ever again. All you need is some baby oil and a Shrek mask. She is never looking in them windows again. Get the blinds anyway, someone says. Not getting them because of how she thinks they'll look, when you know full well it's because she won't get to stare into your house anymore, is a bad idea. Very true. She's not entitled to your private life. If she has a problem with that, tell her you're getting them because annoyingly nosy people keep staring in at us. I mean, maybe there's just a very small chance that she just doesn't know how weird it is. Maybe a little reality check like that might actually work. My mother-in-law to my spouse. Thanks, mum. Love you too. I'm guessing that's the spouse to the mum. Hi, did you get your birthday card? Not yet. I'll check again. Call you in a bit. I sent it last Tuesday. I would never forget you on your birthday. Hope you're happy to let your spouse come between us. I thought we were closer than that. Love you forever. What the hell? Merry frickin' Christmas. Hope I die before next year. No worries. What the f happened here? Something happened here. Like, these gaps tend to come up like when the messages aren't sent like immediately consecutively, but they don't have like date and timestamps, so they're all like probably within a couple of hours of each other max. Something happened here between I would never forget you on your birthday and hope you're happy to let your spouse come between us. Maybe the spouse said something like, oh, your mum forgot you on your birthday, that's kind of mean or thoughtless, but like, how would the mum know that? And then what? It's also Christmas time. And then she just wants to die. This without context is insane. But something happened here. What is it? What happened between the two texts to cause this? Was it completely out of the blue? I'm kind of confused. Exactly. New posting here. I put the explanation tag. Long story short though, there was a phone conversation and she hung up on him and then she texted him that. So what was said on the phone? Long story short, and some other stuff left out. My mother-in-law spent 10 days with us for Thanksgiving. She's broke because she quit her job of 20 years. She has no savings. Kind of rubbing it in here a little bit. We pay for her car insurance, send her gift cards for groceries, and send money. That doesn't bother me so much. She's also an alcoholic who's very lazy. I get the feeling he doesn't really like his mother-in-law very much. By the way, I say he, not because I'm Michael Jackson, but because it's a male-male marriage. Anyway, when she was here for Thanksgiving, she was so miserable and drinking an insane amount of booze, and my husband was engaging her in the drinking. I was not okay with it. I left to my parents, they lived in town, and said enough is enough, no more alcohol. I mean, this is kind of, it's hard to tell like how deep her problems with alcoholism go, because like if they're just getting a little bit drunk and leery on Thanksgiving, is that the end of the world? Maybe this guy's a bit of a stiff, but then again, like maybe it's really bad and his husband's encouraging really unhealthy habits, so hard to tell. Anyway, I had a long conversation with my husband after his mum left and told him this amount of drinking is not okay. We never spend time together, and since she is alone and sad all the time, my husband feels extreme guilt in making her happy. I told him this is tearing our marriage apart. Sounds like he's not very good at communicating. I hope he kind of was also like, I can understand why you feel like that, and maybe there are other ways to make her happy that aren't just alcoholism, like, you know, like providing solutions and having a bit of empathy, not just completely shoving all of that to the side and being like, but this is how it makes me feel about our relationship. But again, he summarized the entire conversation in like one sentence, so, and he agreed. Anyway, he told her that him and I will be spending Christmas alone. She hung up the phone and texted him those messages. Oh, this is kind of a tough one, you know, like the son and mum got drunk and Thanksgiving, and then they had a phone call and said, we're not spending Christmas with you. Like, with the amount of context and only hearing one side, this could be a son-in-law from hell just as much as it could be a mother-in-law from hell. Not getting the full story, so yeah, so hard to to tell. I'm curious what kind of vibe you guys are getting from this. By the way, I was going to mention at some point, these are all mother-in-laws from hell, but I know for a fact that there are a bunch of absolutely mental father-in-law stories as well. So if you like this one, let me know if you want me to do a father-in-law episode at some point. It's only fair. And also might be a good time to mention really quickly that if you're enjoying this video and you want to catch part 2 or father-in-laws from hell, make sure you're subscribed so you can catch them. It's free, it's easy, it only takes 2 seconds, and it would be very much appreciated. Thank you. All right, self-promo over. Back to the mother-in-laws. Am I the asshole for not wanting my mother-in-law to take care of my baby after she tried to breastfeed him? What the hell? My husband and I both work full-time and we have a 2-month-old. My mother-in-law comes to our house every weekday and watches him for free whilst we work. I mean, that's sweet. We're on week 3 of this arrangement since I went back to work after maternity leave. It's very kind of her to do this for our family and I appreciate it immensely. Okay, good. My baby is breastfed. I pump milk for her to give him during the day and he gets milk right from the source on evenings and weekends. He loves nursing and I do too. It's been a wonderful way for us to bond and a beautiful experience overall. Yesterday, whilst I was at work, oh goodness, where's this going? I opened the baby monitor app on my phone to check and see if my mother-in-law was able to get him to take a nap in his crib. She had been texting me saying he was crying really hard, so she was thinking about just holding him for a nap. So I wanted to check and see if he was okay and if she ended up just holding him. When I looked at the camera, mother-in-law was holding him and she had her shirt up and he was latched onto her breast. That is not normal, surely. I was shocked and horrified. I called her right away and she didn't answer. So I had to sit there and watch her attempt to breastfeed my baby. He was latched on but obviously not getting any milk as my mother-in-law is not lactating. Yeah, you have to have the right presence of hormones in your body to lactate and actually be able to breastfeed. Is that baby just suckling on these dry little nips?
What?
I mean, I'm guessing it will have a similar effect to having a dummy or a pacifier or whatever you call it. Maybe a little bit frustrating because no milk is coming out, but that's a bizarre thing to do to a child that's not yours, even if it is your grandchild. I called my husband at work who eventually got hold of her. Apparently the baby was crying so hard that it was the only thing she could think of to calm him down enough to sleep. That was the only thing you could think of. She breastfed all 4 of her children when they were babies and it always calmed them down enough to sleep. Yeah, I'm imagining because they'd be well fed after a while, which wouldn't be the case here. She was mad that I checked the camera and told him it was an invasion of privacy. That is her baby in her own home. The grandmother has no right to privacy there, other than like going to the toilet and having a shower and that kind of stuff, obviously. I don't want her watching my baby anymore. Not unreasonable. We can afford a nanny or daycare. When I told my mother-in-law this, she freaked out and said I was being a bitch and that she was just trying to calm the baby down and it wasn't a big deal. She says that I'm taking her grandchild away from her and being unfair. I mean, it's tough because like the grandmother wasn't trying to like harm the baby. She was doing what she thought was right and she is doing it for free. Oh, it's just not enough to justify it, is it? This is just so bizarre. My husband understands why I'm upset, but he wants to give her another chance to watch the baby. He also doesn't want to spend the money to get a nanny or do daycare when she can care for our baby for free. That is true. That is expensive as well. I mean, like, assuming you can draw the line in the sand at that and be like, maybe never do that again? Is there anything else that she'd do that would be like that weird, but like not actively thinking or knowing it would harm the baby? This is interesting. So obviously a wet nurse is a thing, a woman who breastfeeds and cares for another child. So like if the mother dies or she's unable to nurse the child herself or anything like that. And I was curious if there were like obvious downsides other than like the possible risk of disease spreading. But I just read this and I thought it was interesting to note, given what I just said about hormones. Regular breast stimulation can elicit lactation via a neural reflex of prolactin production and secretion. So I was right that you needed the prolactin hormone to produce milk, but I didn't realize that physical stimulation could lead to you producing this hormone. So technically she could actually breastfeed like this. But I'm not justifying this. That was just purely academic.
This is all hypothetical, isn't it? All academic.
Of course, sir.
Anyway, back to the story. Am I being unreasonable here? I'm so upset with her and just completely baffled at why she would do this that I never even want to see her again, let alone have her anywhere near my baby. I think I could possibly be the asshole for checking up on her through the camera and also for not wanting her to touch my baby anymore, even though that would mean me spending extra money and taking away something she really seems to enjoy doing. Am I the asshole? I thought briefly that the really seems to enjoy doing was the breastfeeding thing, but it's just spending time with the kid. Not the asshole, that's creepy. Not the asshole, that is so beyond words inappropriate to me. What was she thinking? Not the asshole, this story gave me majorly creepy vibes. My skin is crawling. This is a perversion of what should be a bonding experience between a mother and her baby and literally no one else. Do not let this woman around your child. Agreed, other than when a wet nurse is actually necessary. Crikey, that was a bizarre one. Alright, she wants the baby to call her mum. My mother-in-law, a 57-year-old female, told me that she wants my 25-year-old female unborn child to call her mum. Why? Her reasoning: I'm more important to my son than you. There's only one thing you can give him that I can't. That's disgusting!
You just knew that was going to happen!
Why is she implying that just making an implication about her having sex with her. Oh, that's so odd. And I mean, I know that's just written down, but it sounds like she's frustrated that she can't give that to her. Oh, we're back to the emotional incest again. Brilliant. She also insists that she can have a baby too if she wanted. I'm not special for being pregnant. What the f? Some of these people just straight up just need therapy. I mean, in just these 3 sentences, there is already something deeply, deeply wrong here. This makes no sense to me, but she's batshit crazy to me at this point. Yeah, me too. She genuinely believes that I stole her son from her and don't deserve to have my own child refer to me as mum. Please help, I'm going crazy. As in, like, the mother-in-law wants to be the only one being referred to as mum, or mum as well. Not that both aren't incredibly messed up, but stripping the real mum from the mum title is even crazier. You need your significant other to put her in her place and limit contact between you both. I hope he sees how insane his mother is and is protecting you from her. I've read some crazy stories on this sub, but yours is like, what the actual f? Your mother-in-law wants to have her child's baby. That really just is the very obvious vibe, isn't it? This is just so bizarre. No way, and we have a photo one of something like this. My mother-in-law wore a wedding dress to my wedding, so yeah, top that one, Twitter. I mean, wearing white is one thing, but wearing a wedding dress as the mum, no doubt given what we've read to be like, it should be me he's marrying. This is just getting all too much for me, so if you enjoyed today's video, please feel free to subscribe down below. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a part 2 or the father-in-law video, and thanks for watching. Bye.